Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Sports Talk. I'm your sports editor, John Gerardi, alongside, as usual, the doctor, Chris Masse. Doc, can you believe we're in week 7 of football right now?
No, it's pretty crazy, and still in the pandemic, so that's why I got the mask on. But one of these days you'll get to see my beautiful face again. but yeah, it's shocking how fast football season goes.
Especially now with the earlier start, coinciding with the second Friday there at Little League. How we're in when we start October, we're already in the week 6 of football.
Yeah, it's nuts. I usually I'm wearing shorts until like week 9 or week 10, which doesn't seem right for football. It's football weather at the beginning of baseball and softball season, and vice versa. So that's life in Central Pennsylvania.
Exactly.
I guess.
All right, well, let's kind of jump into some of the matchups we got this week. A lot on the schedule here to talk about. Williamsport lost on Friday, dropped to 500. They have a tough road test now going at Delaware Valley, which is not a short drive at all for them.
No, it's about 12 hours.
How big is it at this point in the season for Williamsport to try to rebound and get a win here?
It would be huge. It's going to be a tall order, though. Delaware Valley's 3-3, but they scheduled some tough outside of District 2 opponents, and they started 0-3. And the bus trip, the strength of Delaware Valley, it would be huge for Williamsport. I think if they can just compete with them, that would be a good sign, because I haven't seen a team more ravaged by injuries this season than Williamsport in recent memory. I think over half of their original starters at the beginning of the season didn't play against Dallas, so it's just they're a mash unit right now, and they're trying to figure it out as they go along. They still have been competitive. They've lost all 3 games by 7 points. So they're just looking for something positive, I think, to build on at Delaware Valley, even if it doesn't result in a win.
We got Milton is Jersey Shore is playing Milton this week, and let's just take for a second to think about how good Milton's fall season is going this year. You got the football team, which is 5-1, the boys soccer team is 10-1, and the girls soccer team is 7-2-1. I don't know if they've had a better start to a full season than this.
Yeah, they're celebrating down there. There's some good times for sure. And the football team, just ended a 16-game losing streak in the finale last year. Now they're sitting at 5-1. They rallied from 14 down to beat Mifflinburg last week. That's the kind of game they would have almost always lost in the past. 5 wins for the first time since 2013. So they're doing some really good things, and they're young too. They have a lot of kids that are going to be back next year, so I think they're building something good. They've got a tall order this week. Jersey Shore is playing really well. It's going to be really tough for them. But I thought going into Central Mountain that they would lose that game by a lot, and they played them tough. So who knows? But regardless of the Jersey Shore result, things are really looking up for them.
Obviously Milton had a lot of confidence starting, undefeated, going 4-0, and now they're at 5-1. But how important was that rally, do you think, in terms of being down 14-0 going into the fourth quarter, scoring 15 unanswered, and then defensively forcing Mifflinburg to hold there, and then they kick a field goal and miss it? Do you think that adds even just another boost of confidence for that team going forward?
Yeah, that was huge. The first 4 games, other than the week 1 game, they were all blowouts, and they were in control every game. This time, playing a rival that's pushed them around the last few years, and things were going against them, and to know that they can dig back and dig down and come back against a pretty good team. And Mifflinburg, I think, is a team that can do some really good things moving forward. That's a huge boost of confidence for Milton. I think it lets them know that they can overcome adversity, and that they're kind of flushing everything that's happened in the past, and they're just focused on what's happening now. So I think if you're looking at a turning point in the season, that could be it, and maybe a turning point for the program moving forward to know that they can win a game like that.
On the other side here, for Jersey Shore, how impressed have you been with Brady Jordan at quarterback for them? Because it seems like they've lost 2 All-State quarterbacks, but as we've mentioned numerous times on the show and in the football magazine, Jersey Shore's kind of motto is tradition doesn't graduate. And it seems that Brady Jordan's kind of picked up right where his predecessors kind of left off and just keep that offense going.
he's a great athlete playing quarterback, and I think as the weeks go by, he's starting to become a good quarterback, period. He's thrown 3 touchdowns in each of his last 2 games. So I think he's starting to settle in after he was kind of a Swiss Army knife last year, playing a little bit of running back and slot receiver. And he's settling in, and that's a hard offense to run when it's just go, go, go. So I think there's an adjustment period, and he's still growing as the year goes on, but he's come along really well. He's closing in on 1,000 yards. He leads the area in touchdown passes. So I think you're seeing the growth. Kind of reminds me of Tanner Larson's junior year a couple of years ago, where he started taking off as the year went on. I think you're seeing the same growth in Brady Jordan.
Let's go here now. I mean, Loyalsock this week is against Lewisburg at Lewisburg. Loyalsock Troy just had their way with them last week running the ball. 562 rushing yards. That's not a typo or misreading stats. 562 rushing yards. Have you seen a team run that much on a team before?
No, I'd have to look back at maybe Bragalone's senior year, maybe, but I don't even know if they had that many in a game. They just punched Loyalsock in the face and kept doing it and kept doing it. And eventually, Sock broke. And I said it one time on Twitter. It was like Drago versus Apollo. And maybe I was overstating it, but they just hammered the bleep out of them up front. And I think Troy's good, but I think Loyalsock's a better team than they showed. And Justin Van Fleet nailed it afterwards. He said it's now we find out what kind of team that we are. It's he described it as basically a rock bottom situation where I don't think they can play much worse than they did in that game. But at the same time, all their goals are still in front of them in terms of trying to win districts and do something in the postseason. So I think they're a better team than what we saw on Friday. And now they play a good Lewisburg team. So we'll find out if that's true, if they can get off the mat now.
Yeah, and speaking of the Green Dragons, you mentioned in one of your power rankings, I believe, here earlier this season that Lewisburg, with their new coach, they have the potential to get that program kind of up and running here in a few years and get back on track to kind of the Lewisburg that we were accustomed to seeing in the late 2000s.
Yeah, Eric Wicks, who's a standout safety at West Virginia. I think he was a graduate assistant coach there. He coached at Bucknell. So, this is a guy with an impressive pedigree, not just from his playing days, but also coaching. I think the kids respond to him. And they had a tough schedule early in the season. They had a COVID outbreak or contact tracing situation where they lost a week. I think that got them behind schedule, but now they've won 2 straight in impressive fashion, and that's a sneaky team. I think in District 4A, they're battling Mifflinburg for that last playoff spot, and it's a team that had Jersey Shore within 5 at halftime a couple weeks ago. So this is the Lewisburg Loyalsock game this week is one of the more intriguing games this week because it's 2 teams going in different directions, and I'm curious to see how it plays out.
Evan Wheaton will be there for that one. He's going to be. I think he'll be getting a good game to watch.
Yeah, I think last year it was a 7-point game, and I think it'll be a close one again.
Central Mountain is hosting Selinsgrove this week, which I think is an interesting matchup because Selinsgrove always has just an outstanding, superb defensive unit. And Central Mountain's offense has been really well this year. I think that's going to be kind of that'll be an interesting dynamic to kind of watch because I think Central Mountain's going to have to play probably their top of their game to put up points against that Selinsgrove defense.
Yeah, Selinsgrove's playing like the 85 Bears right now. They've only allowed 30-some points all season. They only allowed 9 in week 2 to Jersey Shore. Shore kicked a field goal in the 4th quarter and won 9-7. So that was an eye-opener there to tell you, I think, how good Selinsgrove is. And last year, Central Mountain and Selinsgrove played twice. Neither team got to double digits in either game. So, yeah, there's not a lot of room for error. Central Mountain had 10 penalties in the first half against Warrior on Saturday. You can't have that against Selinsgrove. This is a game where they can't get into a lot of second and third and long situations against a team like that. It's going to be a battle. But it's a great test for Central Mountain. I think this is on their schedule. This is the best team that they will have played so far. So there's going to be some sore players after this game both ways. It's going to be a physical, hard-hitting contest.
Yeah. the game you're going to be at this week, Masse, South Williamsport at Muncie. I think this is going to be a good game in terms of both teams. I think the running game is obviously going to play a huge factor in this one.
Yeah, these are the 1 and 2 numbers, 1 and 2 in rushing in the area. South makes its living on that, but I think Muncie, Sean Tetro there has kind of built an awesome program there with the kind of same mentality that South Williamsport has. They love to play physical, hard-nosed football and try to impose their will up front. And they have a great running game this year with freshman Austin Johnson. He's got over 700 yards. Ty Nixon has over 500 yards. And Branson Iyer, the quarterback's a great dual threat. He has over 300. And then, South, since Chris Eisworth has gotten there, they've made their living on the ground. And they're like Troy the other night. It's funny because I described Troy in the pregame before the Loyalsock game as the South Williamsport of the North. And this is who South is. That's what they'll do. If you can't stop the run, they're not even going to mess with the pass. They'll just bury you into the ground with the run. These two have good defenses, though. I think they will have to pass to have some success. And I think ultimately, maybe the team that is able to get a big pass play or two is the one that wins this game. But it's going to be a slobber knocker. It's going to be like Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. I use the Rocky analogies a lot, so I wanted to have a different analogy there.
That's a good one, though.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. 2 heavyweights, two title contenders.
Last quick hitter we're going to hit here is Mifflinburg at Montoursville. Warriors coming off that, a tough loss on the road at Danville. But do you think that being back home is going to be kind of nice for them to to refocus and try to rebound with the win this week?
Yeah, it's helped a lot so far. They're 3-0 at home and 0-3 on the road, and they've been in. Mifflinburg's another tough game. They've kind of had a gauntlet of tough opponents here, but I think it helps, and they're on a faster track now. So I think a guy like Rocco Pulizzi can utilize his speed and cutting ability more on that fast surface. So it helps, but it's going to be another tough game. I said Mifflinburg earlier; they're 3-3, but Troy Dressler, their quarterback, has almost 1,300 yards passing. They've got a lot of good athletes that can spread you out. So it's going to be a challenge, but I think it's a game where Montoursville can bounce back and start getting some momentum for a push down the stretch here.
And talk a little bit about Rocco Pulizzi, because I feel like he's just. He kind of just does everything for Montoursville, and he kind of helps spark that offense. Yeah,
I think he's well on his way to another All-State selection this season. He's leading the district in rushing. He's closing in on 1,000 yards for a third straight year, 13 touchdowns, and teams are ganging up to stop him. They're trying to stuff the box. They're doing whatever they can. And he's still, 97 yards against Danville on Friday was his quote-unquote worst game of the year. So when 97 yards is your worst outing, that's pretty good. He's a tough runner. He's a guy that'll go in between the tackles and can get you extra yards. He's not afraid of contact, but at the same time, if he gets into the open field and gets to that second level, you're probably not going to catch him because he's got some great speed too. So he's got a great combination and he's fun to watch.
Last game then to get into before we sign off for the night. Canton at Montgomery. 2 just very, very good teams this year. What do you think is the key in this game for either one of these teams?
Canton's rolling right now. They've been steamrolling people, and they're kind of going with the South Williamsport philosophy right now. They're just grinding people, and they're averaging almost 300 rushing yards a game. So Montgomery has to find a way to slow that run game down. They're not going to stop it, but contain them and try to get them into some third and long situations and try to get them out of their comfort zone. And I think Montgomery, their running game has struggled since Colby Springman got hurt, but they've got a great quarterback in Logan Almeida who just got his 3rd straight 1,000-yard season, and they've got some good receivers in Colton Hans and Maurice Walters. So I think they're going to try to utilize the same kind of game plan they did against South Williamsport when they almost pulled off the upset there, and try to get some quick 3-step drops, try to get some let the athletes work on the outside. I think that's their best hope because Canton's number 4 in the state, and they're looking like they deserve that ranking right now at 6-0. They're playing great football.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, that'll do it for Sports Talk this week. Any closing words, Doc?
No, I want to fire Kyle Shanahan for as a Niners fan. So if anybody is on board with that, let's get a website started. FireKyleShanahan.com. That's about it, though.
All right, that'll do
Here's
it.
my
then for us,
beautiful
guys.
face.